So I am Nate Bauer at Blue White Illustrated, and I am thrilled to be joined by special guest, permanent guest, Greg Pickel. Greg, how are you?
Nate, I'm so excited that we're getting the chance to do this. We're going to get to do it a lot more. Blue White Illustrated is obviously the place to go for Penn State fans, whether they want team news, recruiting, or everything in between on Penn State football and Penn State athletics. And I cannot be more excited about joining you guys.
Yeah, so that kind of goes without saying, but you're joining us. You've accepted a position to be on the Blue White Illustrated team. What prompted that? What led you to decide to join us?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that when you look at the history of Blue White Illustrated, what everyone there has done, it's a hard opportunity to pass up to join a team of writers and reporters and everything else that covers Penn State athletics from A to Z. Again, whether it's Penn State football, whether it's Penn State recruiting, whether it's Penn State basketball, Penn State wrestling, or really anything in between, you're going to get the latest information, whether it's on the message boards, whether it's in a story, whether it's in some other form of multimedia information. You're going to know exactly what everyone wants to know in Penn State land the second that we know it. So the fact that I was able to have the opportunity to join the team at Blue White Illustrated was just something I couldn't pass up. And like I said, I can't wait to interact with everyone on the message boards and of course with all of the staff as well and get started.
Obviously, I've known you for many years. I'm sure many of the people watching this know who you are and what you've done for many years. But for those who don't, can you give us a little bit of your background? How long you've been doing this and your relationship to Penn State?
Yeah, so I got my foot in the door with covering Penn State football and wrestling a little bit back in 2012 when I started my time at Penn State. So yes, I am a Penn State graduate and kind of have been around it ever since. You know, it's been a little bit of everything with mostly football and a little bit of recruiting and some basketball and some wrestling, and kind of have had a chance to touch a lot of different aspects and parts of the Penn State community and the Penn State fan base. And the passion is something that you can't make up, you can't hide it, and you can't deny it, that Penn State fans are as passionate as anyone in the country and probably more passionate than any fan base in the country. And so to continue having the chance to interact and serve them and do all the things that you guys do and that we know that Penn State fans want is just truly a pleasure and an honor. And like I said, I can't wait to get a chance to talk to everyone and get rolling. It's July, man. We're going to be here in summer camp before we know it. And Wisconsin opener is right around the corner.
What else do you do, Greg? You know, I mean, obviously Penn State is a big part of all of our lives for guys that cover the team, but just curious, what are some of the other things that you're interested in?
Yeah, so you might have heard our 4-year-old golden retriever walking around behind me while we're recording this. She can't seem to find a spot that makes her happy, but we spend a lot of time walking her. My wife and I are coming up on our first marriage or anniversary, so we spend a lot of time together doing a little bit of this and a little bit of that. You know, I don't have a ton of hobbies, really, to be completely honest with you. I like, again, interacting with Penn State fans, working and doing all that fun stuff. And when there's some downtime, you know, get outside and do some different things. But for the most part, it's, you know, I think what a lot of Penn State fans are, you kind of get consumed by it, right? And I know you're the same way, Nate. You get in a place where you live it and you breathe it. And for Penn State fans, it's their passion. And for us, it's the passion to serve them in any way that we can at any hour of the day. So yeah, to me, there's not a whole lot to know. It's let's get to it. And when there's time to not get to it, then we'll get outside and hang out a little bit and go have some fun. So it's a few small and interesting facts about me, I guess.
You are going to fit in perfectly, I'm sure. Couple of quick bonus round questions for you. Will Penn State football win the Big Ten this year?
You know, when you look at this team, it's so interesting. And obviously we get asked that question pretty much anywhere you go. I mean, it's not just when you're working, it's when you're not. Everyone wants to know what is the team going to look like and everything else. So there are just so many questions to answer. We all know this. And to sit here, you know, it's like trying to predict how much snow we'll get in November. You can use past history and the James Franklin era and the Mike Yurcich start and everything else as a guiding post. But you know, just like when you're trying to say how much it'll snow in November, you really won't know until you get there. But to me, I would say this, that there's more questions in my mind about Ohio State at this point than at really any other point in the last couple of years. You know, they have a lot to figure out too. And we can talk to we're blue in the face about the kind of talent they have and the way Ryan Day and that staff develop that talent and utilize that talent. But it's not like, to me anyway, it's not like in years past where Ohio State is at the top of the preseason odds, at the top of the favorites board, because they are so superior to everybody else on paper. They have a lot of questions to answer too. So to me, will Penn State win the Big Ten? It's hard to say yes, just because that they have to go to Ohio State. They have easily the most difficult schedule. You've been around this a lot longer than I have, but I can't remember a September that is like this one, where you go on the road to Wisconsin and then turn around and host Auburn 2 weeks later. So I'm going to go with no, but I would say this, that unlike years past, when you say no, you would always say with the caveat that, well, Ohio State's just too good. And the one thing Penn State fans have to look forward to, I think, is that maybe the Buckeyes will take just a minor step back. And if Penn State can take, like we've always heard James Franklin say, those little steps forward each day, they'll have a chance to get them a little bit later in the season in Columbus.
Greg, that was all great, but I'm actually sorry. The answer we were looking for is yes. So,
yes. Okay. Off to a roaring start.
Honestly, we'll get you into the groove. It'll be okay.
That's right. Yeah. I'll go put my red shirt back on now. So
there you go. Well, listen, today's a big day. I took a shower. I put a shirt on for this. Like, everything's, we want to welcome you with open arms and make sure you feel appreciated and welcomed here at the Blue White Illustrated community. Yep. And we look forward to having you around for plenty of this back and forth and plenty of these types of conversations moving forward into the football season. So again, Greg, thanks for joining us. And yeah, we'll get started here.
Can't wait to get going, Nate.
Cool.